were 6 days into our deep-sea survey, plunging into the kind of black that swallows all sense of time and distance. The Argonaut, our submersible, was an older model, built in the 50s, and it rattled with every meter we descended. The deeper we went, the more I could feel the ocean closing in. You'd think we'd be used to it, but something about the deep sea makes you feel vulnerable. It's like floating inside a coffin, waiting for the weight of the water to crush you. At 16,000 feet, nothing but darkness surrounded us. The cold down there is a different kind of cold, one that seeps into your bones, into your mind. The only light came from the beams we cast into the water, which cut through the black like knives, but revealed nothing. Everything was routine. Another descent, another round of mapping the ocean floor. Or so we thought. Thompson was at the sonar, his usual spot, when he frowned and tapped the screen. "Something's off," he muttered. I leaned over. There was a blip, faint at first, moving in the distance. Too slow to be a whale and far too big to be anything else we'd expect down here. We watched it, not saying much, but that silence, the kind that fills a small, cramped sub, started to stretch out. Everyone could feel it, the unease growing with each passing second. Must be some large fish. McCreary offered, trying to sound casual, but his voice was tight. "Fish don't get that big," Thompson replied, still staring at the blip. "Whatever it is, it's huge." That's when the blip started moving towards us. The first rule of deep-sea exploration is to never panic. But I felt my pulse quicken as that thing, whatever it was, closed the distance. At first it stayed just outside the range of our lights, lurking in the shadows like it was watching us. Every now and then it would drift closer, only to back off again, teasing us, taunting us. "Turn off the lights," I said suddenly. The crew looked at me like I'd lost my mind, but there's something about being illuminated in the pitch black that makes you feel like prey. Just for a moment. Reluctantly, McCreary flipped the switch, plunging us into complete darkness. For a few seconds there was nothing, just the hum of the sub, the groan of metal under pressure, and the soft thudding of my heart in my ears. Then we saw it. It wasn't the lights that revealed the creature, but the subtle glow from its massive, pale eyes. Eyes that seemed to reflect what little light was left, like two orbs suspended in the void. At first, that's all we saw. Those eyes, moving silently outside the sub. Then, the shape began to emerge. It rose up from beneath us, first a shadow, then the shape of a massive body. A monstrous silhouette that stretched far beyond the limits of our sub's hull. I'll never forget how unnatural it looked. Like something ancient and forgotten, a creature that time itself had hidden away in the deepest part of the ocean. Its skin was slick, dark, and covered in deep ridges, almost like armor. Massive, undulating fins spread out from its sides, and long, curling appendages trailed behind it, moving with a terrifying grace. And its mouth. God, its mouth. It wasn't just big, it was wrong. A gaping hole filled with spiraling rows of jagged teeth, twisting in ways teeth shouldn't. No one spoke. No one even moved. The only sound was the low hum from the sub and the occasional click from the sonar as it registered the enormity of what we were seeing. "It's circling us," Thompson finally said, barely a whisper. It was. The thing, whatever it was, wasn't just passing by. It was investigating us. Each pass brought it closer, until the dark water outside was nothing but the grotesque shimmer of its body sliding past the viewport. Every time it moved, the Argonaut groaned as if the creature's mere presence was weighing on the sub, compressing the air around us. I could feel my chest tightening, the air thinning, or maybe it was just panic setting in. "Should we surface?" someone asked. I didn't answer. My mind was racing. Even if we could surface, the creature was too close. Any sudden movement might provoke it. Then came the bang. The sound was deafening, a deep, metallic thud that reverberated through the sub. We were thrown from our seats as the Argonaut lurched violently to one side. I hit my head against the bulkhead, stars dancing in my vision. When I looked up, I saw the others scrambling, panic starting to take hold. McCreary was already at the controls, hands shaking as he tried to regain balance. "We've lost propulsion," Thompson shouted, his voice breaking with fear. "It's dragging us down." I felt it then, a slow, steady pull, as if we were being sucked deeper into the abyss. My stomach twisted as I realized what was happening. One of its tentacles, or whatever those appendages were, had latched onto the sub, pulling us into the black. We were helpless. The pressure gauges were climbing fast, the hull groaning louder, threatening to buckle. If we went much deeper, it would crush us like a tin can. "Full reverse," I yelled, but the engine sputtered in protest. We weren't going anywhere, not on our own. Then the lights flickered again, and for a brief, heart-stopping moment, everything went dark. In the blackness, I felt the weight of the ocean pressing in from all sides, and in that suffocating silence, I heard it. Something scraping along the hull. Slow, deliberate. The creature was feeling us, exploring the sub like it was deciding how to break us open. I thought that was the end. I was convinced we were about to be torn apart, swallowed whole by the abyss and the nightmare it had birthed. But then the lights flickered back on and suddenly the pressure stopped. The pulling sensation eased, and the sub groaned as it stabilized. "It let go," Thompson whispered, as if afraid to say it out loud. None of us moved. None of us dared breathe. The creature hovered just outside the range of our lights, its pale eyes watching us, waiting. "The emergency ascent," I ordered, my voice barely holding steady. McCreary didn't hesitate. He hit the controls, and the sub shot upward, engines whirring as we began our rapid climb toward the surface. We didn't speak. We didn't dare. Every second felt like an eternity, the oppressive silence only broken by the groaning of the Argonaut and the occasional ping from the sonar, reminding us that the creature was still there, still watching. As we ascended, I risked one last look out of the viewport. The creature was fading into the black below us, but I knew it was still down there, waiting for the next unlucky soul to wander too deep. It wasn't until we broke the surface, until the sun's light finally pierced the hatch and filled the cabin with warmth, that I realized how close we'd come. The sub was damaged, battered, and limping, but we were alive. Somehow we'd survived. As I climbed out and took a breath of fresh air, the world felt smaller, less significant. We were nothing compared to what lurked below. I don't know why it let us go. Maybe it was curious. Maybe it decided we weren't worth the effort. Or maybe it was just waiting for us to come back. Because whatever that thing was, it wasn't a whale. We've seen whales before. This was something else. It was the kind of cold that sinks deep into your bones, the air so crisp it stung with every breath. We had been on the road for hours, aimlessly wandering through the upstate countryside, just looking for a break from the monotony. That's when we found the pond. It was nestled in a small clearing, surrounded by skeletal trees that clawed at the sky. The glassy, untouched surface called to us. It seemed like the perfect way to kill some time. There were 3 of us. Me, Ben, and Rachel. We'd known each other for years, since high school, and this impromptu road trip was supposed to be a way to relive some of those glory days. None of us had really been skating in years, but Ben had unearthed a few pairs of old skates from his trunk. Rusty and ill-fitting, but serviceable. "Let's do it," Ben said, grinning like a kid as he laced up his skates. He was always the reckless one, the one who pushed boundaries. Rachel and I exchanged a glance, half reluctant, but when he stepped onto the ice and it held firm beneath him, we gave in. The temptation of a few carefree moments was too strong to resist. The ice was smooth, too smooth, like it hadn't been touched all winter. We skated slowly at first, testing it, getting used to the feeling. The air was sharp, biting, and the only sounds were the scrape of our blades and the soft whispers of the wind through the trees. It was peaceful, serene even. But as we ventured further out into the center of the pond, something felt off. The air seemed to grow heavier, the silence more oppressive. I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched, though we were miles from anywhere. That's when Rachel spoke up. "Didn't something bad happen here?" Her voice was quiet, almost tentative, like she didn't want to break the calm we'd fallen into. Ben snorted. "What, like some ghost story? Come on, Ratch, it's just a pond." But Rachel didn't laugh. She slowed her skating, frowning as she glanced toward the darker, murkier part of the ice near the middle. "I think I read about it somewhere. A long time ago. A kid drowned here or something. Fell through the ice." Her words hung in the air, heavy and chilling. I don't know why, but suddenly the pond didn't feel so welcoming anymore. I looked down at the ice beneath my feet, clear in some spots but darker in others, like something was lurking just below the surface. I forced a laugh, trying to shake the unease gnawing at my gut. "Stuff like that happens all the time, right? Old ponds like this. There's probably a story for every one of them." But as soon as the words left my mouth, I saw it. At first it was just a flicker. A blur of movement beneath the ice, so fast I almost convinced myself I imagined it. But then it came again, a shadow, long and sinuous, gliding beneath the frozen surface. My heart skipped a beat, and I stopped skating, staring down at the ice with growing dread. "Guys," I started, my voice tight, but Rachel had already noticed it too. "Did you see that?" she whispered, her breath fogging up in the cold air. I nodded, swallowing hard. "Yeah, I saw it." Ben skated back toward us, oblivious. What's wrong with you two? It's just ice. You're freaking yourselves out." But even as he said it, the pond gave an eerie groan beneath our feet, a deep, resonant sound that made my skin crawl. The cracks started slow, just thin fractures spider-webbing out beneath us. Ben stopped dead in his tracks, the cocky grin slipping from his face. He looked down at the ice, and for the first time I saw fear in his eyes. "Okay," Ben said, trying to keep his voice steady. "Maybe we should head back to the edge." We nodded in silent agreement, but as we turned to skate back, the shadow returned. This time it was clearer. It moved beneath us with a strange fluidity, like it was alive. Something alive under the ice. It wasn't just the way the cracks followed it, tracing its path like a ripple in a still pond, but the feeling. The undeniable sense that whatever was down there knew we were above it. Rachel whimpered, her breath hitching in her throat. I felt my stomach churn as the thing beneath us circled, faster now. The cracks were spreading wider, the ice groaning louder. It wasn't just from our weight. Something else was causing it. Something below. Ben shot forward, moving quickly toward the shore. But Rachel and I couldn't take our eyes off the ice. The thing was circling us, its shadowy form shifting and bending, as though it were pressing against the ice from below, testing its strength. And then, just as I dared to hope we'd make it out, Rachel screamed. I turned just in time to see her stumble, her arms flailing as a crack splintered right beneath her feet. The ice dipped, bowing under her weight, as the thing below surged upward. It was too fast to be real, too sudden. A pale shape smashed against the underside of the ice, and for a brief, horrifying moment I saw it. It wasn't human. It wasn't a fish, either. Its skin was pale, almost translucent, with limbs that were too long, too thin. Its eyes, God, its eyes, were hollow, dark pits that stared up at us with a hunger that made my blood run cold. Its mouth opened, pressing against the ice as though it was trying to break through, trying to reach us. "Rachel, move." I screamed, but she was frozen in place, staring down at the creature as the ice buckled beneath her. I couldn't tell if it was fear or fascination, but she couldn't look away. Then, in one horrible motion, the thing slammed itself against the ice again. The surface cracked wide, the sharp sound tearing through the air like a gunshot. Rachel snapped out of her trance just in time, stumbling backward as the ice caved in, sending a massive chunk into the black water below. We didn't wait. We couldn't. Ben was already at the edge, screaming for us to hurry, but I couldn't think straight. All I could hear was the groaning of the ice, the cracks spreading beneath my feet, and the sound. God, that sound. Of something moving just beneath the surface, closer now, angrier. I grabbed Rachel's arm, pulling her toward the shore. The ice gave way behind us, crumbling into the dark water in chunks. We were running now, our skates slipping and sliding, our breaths coming out in panicked gasps. The thing was still there beneath us, following, circling. We made it to the shore, collapsing onto the snow, our hearts pounding so loud I could hear nothing else. I looked back just once, and the pond was ruined. Jagged cracks running through its surface like veins, the middle a gaping hole where the ice had given way. The thing was gone, vanished back into the depths. None of us said a word. We just sat there, staring at the pond, too shaken to move. Ben's face was pale, his usual bravado shattered. Rachel was trembling, her eyes wide and unblinking. We never talked about what we saw that day. No one would believe us anyway. But every winter, when the ponds freeze over and the world goes quiet, I think about that thing under the ice. About how it watched us. How it almost got us. And I wonder if it's still there, waiting for someone else to skate too far out on the ice. The night was still. Too still for my liking. I wasn't supposed to be out here, not this late, but the idea of capturing something no one else had, something elusive, was too tempting to pass up. Blackwater Bog stretched out in front of me, a thick sheet of mist hovering just above the surface, only broken by the occasional croak of frogs or distant splash from something unseen. I'd been out here for hours, my boots heavy with mud chasing shadows through my camera lens. And every now and then, in the corner of my eye, I could have sworn I saw something big. A ripple that was just too large, too deliberate. The tips had been vague. Locals muttered about a nocturnal creature, some kind of undiscovered species lurking in the swamp. Some said it was covered in fur, others in scales. They talked in whispers, like they didn't want to admit what they'd seen. I wasn't concerned with legends or ghost stories, though. All I wanted was proof, something I could photograph and show the world. But out here, with the swamp closing in around me, it wasn't the proof I was thinking about. It was the quiet. The oppressive silence. It wrapped around me like a damp blanket, the only sounds coming from the squelch of my boots as I pushed deeper into the bog. My breath came in short, sharp bursts. I tried to shake off the feeling, telling myself it was just the isolation getting to me. But something was off tonight. I could feel it in my bones. I heard the splash behind me, but when I turned around, it was already there. At first, I thought it was just another ripple. But this ripple was growing, widening. Like something massive was moving just below the surface, and moving fast. I froze, the camera suddenly heavy and useless in my hands. I squinted into the murk, trying to make sense of the shape shifting under the water, but my gut knew what my brain was still refusing to believe. There was something alive in that water, and it was close. A part of me wanted to run, just turn and bolt back to the trailhead. But I didn't. I couldn't. The air felt thick, like I was breathing through cotton. My feet felt glued to the soggy earth beneath me, and that's when I saw it. The creature's head broke the surface for just a moment, enough to catch the faintest sliver of moonlight. Its skin glistened, slick and slimy, like something dredged up from the depths of the swamp. But it wasn't just a fish or some harmless animal. No, this thing had eyes. Two milky, bulbous orbs set into a vaguely humanoid face, their sickly yellow gleam staring straight at me. The creature had a body that was lanky and elongated, with arms so long they seemed to disappear under the water. It was almost like it was trying to mimic a human shape, but it hadn't gotten it quite right. A cold shiver ran up my spine, and before I even had time to process what I was seeing, the thing ducked back beneath the water. Gone. But I knew it wasn't far. I turned to run, but my feet felt like lead. The mud clung to my boots, each step harder than the last. Every squelch was a reminder that the bog wasn't letting me go easily. Behind me, I could hear the water churning, a steady, deliberate rhythm. Whatever this thing was, it was following me. I stumbled, my camera swinging wildly around my neck as I tried to keep moving. My breathing was ragged, fear gnawing at the edges of my thoughts. What the hell was that thing? Some part of me, the logical part, tried to convince myself it was just an animal, maybe a manatee or a large fish. But the sound it made, that sloshing, deliberate sound, it wasn't like any animal I'd ever heard. The water beside me rippled again, closer this time. I felt my pulse spike, and without thinking I splashed into a patch of shallow water, trying to cross to a narrow stretch of dry land. But the bog was relentless, my feet sinking deeper with every step, the mud grabbing at me, pulling me down as if the swamp itself was alive. That's when I saw it again. Closer this time. Its form broke the surface of the water, and for a split second, the full horror of it hit me. The creature wasn't just long. It was impossibly tall, its limbs stretching out far beyond the limits of any human anatomy. Its skin was translucent in places, revealing patches of muscle and sinew underneath, almost like it was constantly dissolving and regenerating. Tendrils hung from its arms, thin and writhing like living vines, trailing behind it as it moved. Its head cocked to one side, a grotesque imitation of curiosity, and its mouth, if you could call it a mouth, parted slightly, revealing rows of jagged, needle-like teeth. Teeth that looked worn down, chipped, as if this thing had been gnawing on rocks or bones for years. My legs moved on their own, my body fueled by pure instinct as I pushed forward, stumbling through the reeds. The water was splashing wildly now, the creature gaining on me, and I knew. There was no way I could outrun it. The air was thick with the smell of rot, like something long dead had been stirred up from the depths of the bog. I didn't dare look back. The sloshing sound was too close, the weight of its presence bearing down on me. I could hear the rasp of its breath, wet and labored, like it was dragging itself through the water, inches behind me. I hit a patch of solid ground, dry land at last, and for a moment I thought I might have a chance. But then the sound stopped. Everything stopped. I turned, heart pounding, expecting to see the creature looming over me, but there was nothing, just the dark, still water of the swamp, stretching out like an endless void. My legs were trembling, every muscle in my body screaming at me to run, but I was rooted in place, scanning the water for any sign of movement. Then, without warning, the creature surged from the depths, faster than anything that size should have been able to move. Its body broke the surface in a blur of slick skin and grasping tendrils, and before I could react, it was on me. I stumbled back, crashing into the mud, my hands scrabbling for something. Anything to hold on to. But the only thing I felt was the cold, wet bark of a tree behind me. I was trapped. Its face loomed inches from mine, those pale, soulless eyes reflecting nothing but the moonlight. It didn't move for a second, just stared, its breath a slow, ragged hiss. My body locked up, my mind frozen in sheer terror. I couldn't even scream. And then, blackness. I don't know how I got out. Maybe I passed out. Maybe it let me go. When I woke up, I was lying at the edge of the bog, my body soaked, the stench of swamp water clinging to my skin. My camera was gone, my boots were torn, but I was alive. There were no tracks, no sign of the creature. Just the eerie, unnatural calm of the swamp stretching out before me, like none of it had ever happened. But I know what I saw. And sometimes on quiet nights when the wind is still and the air feels heavy, I can hear it. The sound of something moving in the water. Her voice. It was like it was calling to me, even though I knew she was gone. That's the first line I saw when I opened the captain's log. A battered old book, weathered and half-soaked, found adrift in the open sea. No sign of the man who wrote it, nor his boat. Just this journal, telling a story that seems impossible. And yet, the more I read, the more I believed it. The man who wrote these words had been a sailor for decades, a veteran of the seas. But even the most experienced can be lured to places no human should go. October 3rd. I've been out here longer than planned, days turning into weeks. The isolation. It's never bothered me before. The sea has always been my sanctuary, even after I lost her, especially after I lost her. He didn't mention who her was, not right away. Only that she was gone, lost to the same waters he sailed now, perhaps searching for closure, or maybe just to feel close to her memory. October 5th. The nights have gotten strange. I can't explain it, but the water feels different, darker. I swear I heard something, just beyond the waves, a voice. It's not the wind, not the usual creaks of the boat. This was something, human. I told myself it was just the loneliness playing tricks on me, but I haven't heard voices since I lost her. Isolation could do that to a man. Long hours drifting on a still, open sea, no land in sight, no sounds but the soft lap of water against the hull, the distant cries of gulls, and the occasional groan of the ship as it settled under the sun's oppressive heat. But he was a seasoned sailor. He'd spent his life at sea, seen things most men never could, or would never want to. And yet something about this voyage felt different. October 6th. The voice is back. Clearer this time. I went up on deck to check, but the night was so thick, I couldn't see more than a few feet ahead of the boat. The water was calm, eerily calm. Then I saw it. A figure. Just for a second, out in the sea, floating. No boat, no light. Just her. It was her. The logs were unevenly written here, the ink faint as though his hand trembled when writing. Whoever she was, the journal made it clear she had a hold on him. The entry hinted at an obsession that only deepened after her loss. But to see her? Out there? In the middle of the ocean? That night there were no waves, no breeze, just an expanse of still black water, stretching endlessly into the void, and in the distance the shape of a woman. October 7th. I tried to convince myself it was madness. A hallucination. Grief playing with my mind, tricking my senses. But tonight, the voice. It was closer. Her voice like a whisper carried on the wind, though there was no wind. She was calling to me. But not in words. More like a pull. I can't explain it. I feel her in my bones, in my chest, like something deep inside me is breaking open. And that entry disturbed me. The way he wrote. Less a recounting of events and more an unspoken surrender to something powerful. An unnatural pull, almost like he was drifting not just on the sea, but into some dark, unseen force, and a force that wanted him. His words had become frantic now, jagged lines scrawled across the page. He was unraveling. October 8th. It's her. I saw her again tonight, clear as day. But something was wrong. Her eyes. Hollow. Her skin pale, glistening like the surface of the sea under moonlight. And yet, I couldn't stop myself. I leaned over the side of the boat, reaching out as if I could pull her from the water. Bring her back to me. His grief was devouring him. The journal didn't say her name, but there was a deep sorrow between each line. Some lost love, someone taken by the same sea he had called home. It wasn't just guilt. It was torment. It made him vulnerable to the madness that stalked him in the waves. October 9th. I can't stay here. The sea is calling me, but it's not just the sea anymore. It's her voice. It's louder now. I feel it when I sleep, hear it in the quiet of the night. I don't even remember falling asleep, but every time I wake up, I'm closer to the water. Like I've been moving without realizing. She's in my dreams too, floating just beyond my reach, mouthing words I can't hear. He was losing control, slipping further into whatever was pulling him under. His sense of reality frayed, his logic breaking apart like a ship in a storm. And the more he resisted, the stronger the call became. October 10th. She's not just in the water anymore. She's on the deck. I woke up last night and she was there, standing at the edge of the boat, her hair dripping wet, her dress clinging to her. But something's not right. Her skin. It doesn't move like it should. And her eyes. They're all wrong. They're black. Hollow. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. That was the moment I knew. This wasn't just a sailor lost to the delusions of solitude. No, this was something darker. Something that had found him and claimed him. October 11th. I saw her again, but this time she wasn't alone. There were others in the water, just below the surface, their arms outstretched, waiting for me. I can hear them now, all of them whispering, their voices like the tide pulling me closer. The pages were soaked through now, almost illegible, but I could still make out the panic. His thoughts had become chaotic, his once steady hand a mess of trembling strokes. Whatever he saw, whoever he thought she was, had become something far worse. October 12th. I can't fight it anymore. I tried to resist, but the pull is too strong. Her voice. I hear it even when I cover my ears, even when I scream into the wind. There's no wind, though. There hasn't been for days. The sea is still. She's waiting for me. That was the last full entry. After that, nothing but a few broken lines, scattered thoughts as if he couldn't hold on to reality any longer. The final sentence was smudged, but I could just make it out. I'm going to her. They never found his boat, only this journal, drifting alone. His fate remains a mystery. Sailors talk of sirens, of voices that lure men to their deaths, pulling them beneath the waves. I always thought they were just stories. But now, I wonder if some calls are impossible to resist. Maybe, in the end, we all answer. The sea, after all, takes what it wants. And sometimes it doesn't give anything back. I never believed in ghosts or things that go bump in the night, but that was before I paddled into the dusk and saw the face staring up at me, unblinking, from just beneath the surface. It was one of those evenings that felt too still, the kind where every rustle of leaves and distant croak of frogs seemed amplified in the thickening air. I thought a solo kayak trip down this secluded river would be peaceful. A chance to escape and explore a place that had whispered my name through faded memories of forgotten tales. But as I drifted into the gathering darkness, I soon realized that peace is often a deceptive illusion. The sun sank low, painting the sky in hues of crimson and deep indigo, and the trees lining the riverbank began to twist into sinister silhouettes. The branches arched overhead, and I couldn't shake the feeling that they were watching me, their gnarled forms leaning closer, as if sharing secrets in hushed tones. I focused on the gentle rhythm of my paddle breaking the water's surface, trying to drown out the growing unease in my gut. Just as I rounded a bend, something flickered beneath the water. a fleeting shadow that sent a chill racing down my spine. Leaning forward, I squinted, heart pounding. That's when I saw it. A pale face, ghostly and serene, staring up at me from just below the surface. My breath hitched. I wanted to look away, to dismiss it as a trick of the light, but the face held me captive. The current swirled gently around it, and for a fleeting moment, I felt an odd sense of calm. Perhaps it was just a mirage, a reflection of the fading light playing tricks on my mind. But as I paddled on, trying to shake the disquieting image, I risked another glance back. Each time, the face was a little clearer, more defined, and with each fleeting glimpse, it transformed from an ethereal specter into something more sinister. The woman's features began to take shape, soft and delicate at first, but then gradually twisted into a grimace I could hardly comprehend. My grip on the paddle tightened, and I fought against the rising tide of panic. She wasn't just watching, she was waiting. I started to paddle faster, muscles straining against the water. My heart raced with every stroke, and still the face followed. It floated just beneath the surface, its pale skin now taking on an unnatural hue. Grayish and mottled, like a corpse that had lingered too long in the depths. I could feel the dread coiling around me, tightening its grip as I fought to escape the growing horror. The river, once inviting, now felt alive, an insidious force determined to keep me trapped. The whispers started then, soft at first, a mere rustle in the wind that made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. I couldn't quite make out the words, but the tone was unmistakable. It was a cacophony of sorrow, despair, and something darker, an undercurrent of rage that gnawed at my sanity. Each frantic glance back revealed her face becoming more grotesque. The eyes, once merely haunting, were now sunken into her skull, a black void that seemed to reach out for me. Her mouth stretched into a ghastly smile, an expression of twisted joy that sent a new wave of panic crashing over me. It felt as though she was trying to lure me closer, her silent screams echoing in my mind. "Just keep paddling," I muttered under my breath, trying to drown out the growing terror. I could feel the river's pulse quickening, thrumming beneath me, the current suddenly pulling harder, dragging me back toward her. I was losing control, slipping into a nightmare I couldn't wake from. In a desperate bid for survival, I paddled harder, my muscles screaming in protest. The rhythm of my strokes turned frantic, each splash sounding like a heartbeat echoing through the oppressive silence. The face was now impossibly close, and I could see the water ripple around her, as if she were straining to break free from the depths. My thoughts raced. I had to get away, to escape this hellish vision that clung to me like a shadow. Then, the whispers grew louder, morphing into a wail that filled the air. A mournful cry that seemed to resonate from the very depths of the river itself. I felt a surge of panic. It was as if the river were a living entity, feeding off my fear, drawing me in with its sinister charm. I fought against the current, my breath coming in ragged gasps, but I could feel her presence tightening around me, coiling like a serpent ready to strike. With every glance, the woman's face transformed more grotesquely. Her lips cracked and peeled, revealing teeth that were yellowed and broken. The peaceful visage I first encountered was long gone, replaced by a ghastly visage that promised terror. My heart thundered in my chest, the blood rushing in my ears as I realized I was not just battling the river. I was battling whatever dark force lingered in these waters. I turned my kayak sharply, desperate to find the bank, to escape the torment. The shadows deepened as the last remnants of light faded into darkness, and I could feel my grip slipping. Just as I thought I might break free, the current surged, pulling me down the river with ferocity. I fought against it, but the water was relentless, dragging me back toward her. Then, in the moonlight, I saw it. A small clearing up ahead. My heart soared as I paddled toward it, desperation fueling my strokes. The river widened, and the surface shimmered like 1,000 shattered stars. I felt hope blooming within me, but it was fleeting, extinguished by the memory of her face lurking beneath the water. I reached the bank, scrambling out of my kayak, feet splashing into the cool mud as I stumbled onto solid ground. I didn't dare look back. I sprinted into the woods, branches clawing at my skin, heart racing. The whispers followed me, echoing in the trees, their sorrowful wails haunting me as I ran. Even now, weeks later, I can't shake the feeling that she's still watching, waiting for someone else to stumble into her watery domain. I've told myself it was just my imagination, that the shadows of the river played tricks on my mind. But deep down, I know the truth. There are things in the water that we cannot understand, things that should never be disturbed. So if you ever find yourself near a secluded river at dusk, take my advice. Don't look too closely into the depths. You might just see a face staring back at you, one that you'll never forget. And there you have it. Just a few of the countless terrifying experiences lurking in the waters we thought we knew. From the eerie whispers of a still lake to the colossal mysteries of the deep sea, it's clear that water holds more than just danger. It holds the unknown. If you enjoyed these bone-chilling tales, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more unsettling stories from the darkest corners of the world. Until next time, stay curious, stay cautious, and beware of what lies beneath the surface.